I'm CBC Money columnist Bruce Sellery. The wildfires in Los Angeles have been devastating for homeowners. And, we've been seeing these headlines around severe weather events for the last couple of years. So costly for the state of California, for Canada, and around the world. This week, the Insurance Bureau of Canada came out and said 2024 was the costliest year on record and foreshadowed that we're going to see some rate hikes to come. Just how costly? $8.5 billion. So it was the wildfires in Jasper, hailstorms in Calgary, flooding in southern Ontario, and the remnants of Hurricane Debby in Quebec. So a huge number. The prior record, 2016 at $6.2 billion, which was the year of the Fort McMurray fires. The Insurance Bureau of Canada said that since 2019, the total cost for repairing and replacing personal property is up almost 500%. And they didn't give a specific number for what we might be able to expect in terms of rate hikes, but let's say your policy currently costs $1,500. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that could be up 10% or $150. So not anywhere near the cost of a mortgage renewal, but not nothing. What can you do about it? Well, you can budget for it and also do some research to try and mitigate the impact. Like a mortgage renewal, this is not unanticipated. So better to look at the, family finances before the bill hits, and then think about how could you increase income or cut expenses in order to accommodate that increase in insurance costs. How do you absorb it? Some companies offer the option to pay in one payment or multiple payments. Choose what works for you. You just don't want to suddenly have a big bill to pay and then have the amount sit on your credit card for months and months and months at 25%. I mentioned research. I recommend becoming like a temporary expert on home insurance. You're not going to switch companies every year. Maybe you're going to do it once every 3 to 5. Just don't accept the auto renewal year over year, which is the same advice I give on the mortgage. Don't just accept the auto renewal. The first step is to read your current policy to see what's covered. And you're like, read it? Oh, but read the entire thing. I know people are so bad about reading things, but it's so critical. I read mine this morning. 42 pages across between the Da Vinci Code and 50 Shades of Grey. So riveting, so riveting. Make notes as you go because you're probably going to have questions. So things like overland water. What does that phrase even mean? If your house burns down, are they going to just pay to replace it, or are you getting a fixed amount? What happens if you're away from your house for 14 consecutive days? There's a clause in there about that. What is reward coverage? So your insurance company could pay a reward for information that leads to a conviction in the scenario where there's been a burglary or arson. My policy has identity theft coverage, which I didn't even know. Also, look out for specific dollar limits on things like jewelry and collectibles. So I need to know, like, the value of my Smurf collection from the 80s. Does that exceed what is covered in collectibles? I don't think it does. I'm not a weirdo. I don't have like 1,000, maybe 25. In terms of pricing, the comparison websites can be a good place to start. So that's like Lowest Rates, rates.ca, Rate Hub, and they crawl through lots of different deals out there and then, present you with some options. The thing to remember is that how they make their money is when you click on a link and buy a policy through one of their advertisers. So just be aware of that. Sometimes those sponsors get higher profiles than others. They'll also probably want your email address, and it may be mandatory to get the quote. So know that you're going to be added to a mailing list. Now, a lot of people work through a broker, and if you have an insurance broker that you love, you can ask them to go to the market and see if they can find a better deal for you. The great brokers are going to do that. The not so great ones are going to pretend to do that. Have them give you a couple of quotes. And sometimes you can get better rates when you bundle home and auto. Sometimes you can get a better rate through an affinity group like a college or university alumni association. So look at that. Another question is how to figure out what you need. Like, do I really need coverage for those sorts of things? This is where a great broker is super helpful. So have them break it down. Like, this is the incremental cost for this particular thing. Does that make sense or not? I scrimp at the meat counter. I am shameless. I am very happy to buy ground beef that expires today on sale for 30%, 100%, no issue. but home insurance isn't an area in which I scrimp. Also, note that many insurance companies have been adding peril-specific deductibles. So, for things like water damage, sewer backup, hail coverage, just understand the basics on this because it's new. I'm less futzed about the amount of the deductible and more futzed about the total coverage in the case of calamity. Now, in terms of time, I'd get started with at least 3 months before a renewal kicks in. You want time to do the research. If you're going to switch, you'll need to handle the changeover so that you're covered the entire time. And it's a hassle. It's for sure it's a hassle. But the last time I did it, it's probably 6 years ago, my cost was 40% lower when I switched. Dramatic. Here's the other must do. Record a video of your entire home. Literally like walk around with your phone, press record, walk around, add a little bit of narration, open the closets, open the furnace room, open the garage, and talk about what you see. Because in the event of a claim, that is going to be really, really helpful. And it's kind of a nice keepsake of what your home looked like in 2025. Here's what it looked like. It'll take less than 10 minutes, really, and it's worth doing, unless, of course, you're Drake. If you're Drake, hi Drake, it's going to take you more than 10 minutes. You probably have to hire a Hollywood crew to do that. That is what I said today, nationally on CBC.